Welcome everyone to this another edition of NASCAR Fan 02's NASCAR Racing Review. For this week, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series went to New Hampshire, the Magic Mile, to race 301 laps around the Magic Mile. And there were a lot of surprises throughout the whole race that kept me in tune and that led to the eventual winner of the race, which I will get to later in this review. I will first off start by saying that the first surprise that I was surprised about was Jimmie Johnson. It seemed like he was the only car, at least in my opinion, that had tire trouble throughout the entire race. Within the first couple laps, his left rear was starting to go out. He had a flat left rear tire, so he comes into the pits. And you see on the replay that the tire was very, very low air pressure, but it just started to go away. Then laps later, according to Jimmie Johnson, the left rear tire blew out, and that's when he wrecked the car going into turn one. That was a big shocker to me because Jimmie Johnson at New Hampshire, he's pretty good at New Hampshire. I don't know how many times he has won there, but he's been pretty good there. And I was really shocked to see him be out of the race so early, but it happens to drivers. Sometimes drivers will either have engine trouble or tire trouble, and they get out of the race really early, out of the driver's hands. But, well, he was out of the race early, so he wouldn't be in contention to win. But as the race went on, it seemed early on that the Gibbs cars were going to be the guys to beat, with Kyle Busch leading, then Denny Hamlin. But coming through the pack, you see Brad Keselowski in his Red's Apple Ale car, and according to the broadcasters as well as myself and everyone else that saw the race, he was able to cut the center. He was able to rotate the center and get the drive off the corner, whereas a lot of people really struggled. And he was making his move up through the field. And eventually he did get around Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin for the lead, and for the majority of the race he would stay there. But that wouldn't be said until we had pit stops, where throughout the pit stops at New Hampshire, as of recently, 2 tires was the way to go. Either sometimes people would take mostly right side, some people would even take left side tires only, not 4 tires. And that would create some interesting restarts. And with Brad taking 4, he took 4 tires every stop except for the last stop, which I'll get to soon. He took 4 tires, and he was able to slice and dice his way throughout the field, and he had the best car throughout the day. But that whole incident, or with Brad being the dominant car, wasn't the big thing that's being talked about in New Hampshire, which I'll get to in a second, where we had a late race caution, and we had a really crazy restart that had Brad in the lead. He stayed out, and people behind him took tires, and he was trying to hold off Kyle Busch, and he does. And so Brad Keselowski won the race, and he wins the 3rd time this season, and I believe he clinched himself into the chase more than likely with the points and everything. I'm pretty sure. I'm not entirely sure, but he has 3 wins, so it's pretty good for Brad Keselowski right now. He out of the past 3 races, he has won 2 of them, Kentucky and now New Hampshire. But Brad Keselowski's win is not the most talked about thing right now from New Hampshire. During the race, his teammate Joey Logano was running second, and going into turn 3, Joey Logano got turned around and got wrecked. Who wrecked him? It was none other than 72-year-old Morgan Shepard. And that has a lot of talk going around, as I saw on my Facebook account earlier today. I saw a lot of criticism towards Joey and little to none with Morgan Shepard. Here's my opinion of what happened. Joey Logano was running second place, where you have Morgan Shepard. At the time when the wreck happened, he was 10 laps down, and he was way off the pace. And I've seen the play multiple times, and Morgan Shepard was letting Logano go down the straightaway more towards the corner. Joey's going around Morgan on the outside, and he's holding his line. He's not cutting down across Morgan. He's holding his line. Then all of a sudden, you see Joey's car get turned around. Morgan hit Joey in his left rear corner panel and spun him around and wrecked him. And Joey wasn't really pleased, and he basically told Morgan off in a whiny way. But I will say this, though. Let's just put yourself in, I would just like for you, the view, to put yourselves in Joey's shoes. Not Joey Logano himself, actually, but let's say you were running in second place with the possibility of winning. More than likely, racing with your teammate, could be a 1-2 finish possibly, and then all of a sudden that is dashed away because some car way off the pace takes you out like that. Whether it's a rookie or veteran like Morgan is or not, you still be upset. I mean, I'm just thinking about it right now, and I'd be very furious with Morgan. There is no excuse. No excuse. It doesn't matter if he's been in the sport for this long. There's no excuse for, to wreck someone like that. I mean, I know it wasn't intentional or anything like that, but Morgan can't make any excuses, for what happened. That was just all him. Whether his car was great or not, but, mistakes happen. Morgan made a mistake, and, that's basically what happened. He made a mistake, he misjudged his corner speed or something, or either his car got loose and he lost control, but he made a mistake and he wrecked second place. The thing that everyone's criticizing, I guess, is Joey Logano's comment that Morgan needs to take a driving test before racing or something like that. Now, I will admit that is whiny. He needs to act more professional. I am a Penske guy. He needs to act more professional on the camera, because when he said that, this made him sound really whiny and complaining. But I get what he's trying to say. He's basically trying to say that people that slow on the racetrack shouldn't be out on the racetrack like that, just logging laps if they're that slow. I mean, again, Morgan was 10 laps down during that time. I mean, here's some other possible things Morgan could have done, in my opinion. He could have let Joey Logano way further down the straightaway so him and Joey wouldn't have been in the corner whatsoever. Or Morgan should have just been running like normal racing line, because Morgan was way down at the bottom for some reason. I don't know why, but he could have just went up high, got out of the racing groove, and he could have just let Joey go on the inside. But the way this happened, I think, in my opinion, Morgan let Joey too late down in the corner. And when you're at the bottom of the track like that, if you're trying to keep your car down, it's pretty hard. So Morgan's, either his car mishandled and he got loose and hit Joey, or his car pushed and he was carrying too much speed and hit Joey in his left rear. And I heard people saying that it was all Joey's fault because he was side drafting off of Morgan. That does not make sense whatsoever when you're at a corner like New Hampshire and Morgan's letting Joey go. There's no side draft involved whatsoever when Joey's going so much faster than Morgan. And there's no point in even side drafting when Morgan's that slow. But, I will say that, it was Morgan's, mistake. He made a mistake for what happened to Joey's wreck. But, Joey could have handled himself more professionally in an interview. He could have said, I'm really upset with, Morgan made a mistake and, he took us out. I'm very upset with that, but I'm just going to continue to log laps and get the best points I can. Joey just made unnecessary comments and made himself look like at fault, because people are now gaining up on Joey for what he said. So, but that's what's being talked about mostly from that race. But the race itself, it was pretty good, I will say. It was a pretty good race, in my opinion. For Brad Keselowski, he wins his third race of the season. Race doesn't come, the race comes with controversy, but that's to be expected. Not to be expected, excuse me, but it happens in NASCAR. So we'll see what happens in 2 weeks when NASCAR Sprint Cup Series goes to Indianapolis for the Brickyard 400, and we will see. Well, I'm not sure if it's called Brickyard 400, but they're going to Indianapolis anyway. So we will see who will win that race. When Pablo Montoya, I believe, is coming back for that race for Penske, so he'll be in the 12 car. And we will see who will be able to kiss the Art of Bricks at the end of 400 miles in Indianapolis. With that being said, this is NASCAR Fan 02, thanking you, the viewer, for watching this video for this NASCAR review video in New Hampshire. If you're not a subscriber, click the subscribe button. And this is NASCAR Fan 02 signing off.